So because of the pandemic, we saw a huge surge of people in need. There were thousands of inquiries, people asking for support for rent, for utilities and childcare. I think for us, there's a few of those kinds of stories that we're seeing that are patterns. So the folks that have never asked for any help in the past because they've been able to get by, paycheck to paycheck, or they have some savings that they're able to be okay. But when mom and dad both work in the tourism industry and the tourism industry took that huge hit, they both found themselves with no income, with children in the household that needed to eat. The other kind of situation is that, someone who was sick, that they didn't know that they had COVID because COVID testing wasn't available in the very beginning stages of March. Later on down the road is when they figured out that, they probably did have that because they have the aftermath effects of COVID-19 and have not been able to return to work for months. Those are the kinds of stories that I think the general public probably have heard in the newspapers, but we see it as reality with all of the folks that we've been able to serve. Families are so super grateful. They've been sending in thank you cards to our staff. And when you get to see a thank you card that has a little kid's writing in it, it makes it all the more special, I think, for our workers, because then they know that what they did reached a family and their children. So with the pandemic, everyone had to change and pivot. They're using that word a lot these days. And so we decided that we weren't going to be able to do this year's annual fundraising event, which was a dinner. And so our adjustment is that we've come up with an idea called Lend a Helping Hand, which is going to allow us to see what we could do to raise as much unrestricted monies that we could use towards fulfilling the mission. So dinner monies were basically called unrestricted, and they would help us pay for things like the lights and a leaking roof, the AC that goes down, or for grounds work, things that are needed for us to carry out mission services. And without that, we would have to figure out how we're going to pay for those kinds of much needed resources. So Lend a Helping Hand is a way that we could ask for help from our supporters to do that. I think that people really show so much of their heart for their community, and they often want to help, but they're not really sure how. How can they reach the broader community? And so we've seen so many people make contributions or donations to our nonprofit because we do reach thousands throughout the year and over the years. And so we are that conduit, I think, for the general public who wants to do something for their neighbor, but just don't really know how to do that. They are going to help really where the business community cannot anymore because they've been so sorely impacted. Those who can, come from those households that can give to somebody else would be, so super critical during this time. We really are grateful for what you guys do for the community, because without you, we can't do what we do to serve the families and individuals that are in need. Thank you so much for supporting Helping Hands Hawaii and lending a helping hand.